And I'm here to talk to you today about how sobriety can help us get over our negativity, not only our negativity around us, but our self negativity. A lot of times in addiction, we beat ourselves up. We uh, we give ourselves a hard time. We talk negatively. We have negative self talk, and that's just something, unfortunately, that we're born with. I found it wasn't something that came naturally to get over that. It really took sobriety to get through the negativity, to get through those thoughts. I learned that kind of actually through sobriety, and actually a little bit more in depth when I started growing in my faith really opened my eyes to a lot of things. But the one thing that really opened my eyes to it was the fact that um, we don't give ourselves a lot of grace to begin with. And then when we start drinking alcohol, those ruminations really begin to really hit heavy. They start to weigh on us. The ruminations and the negative self talk are expounded in uh, addiction. They really get stronger and stronger the longer we go uh, in our drinking lives. So it's the weekend now, TGIF, and if you're here, thank you for being here. If you're sober, congratulations. If you're looking to get sober, you've come to the right place, because this is a place where we come to discuss our sobriety, the things that we can do to get over the negative ruminations. And welcome, John Boy. And so we're talking a little bit about sobriety. So this channel is really all about sobriety. It's about growing. It's about the benefits of sobriety and all the things that come along with getting over our addiction. If you're addicted to alcohol, if you have issues with drinking, similar to how I did, I drink a lot. Welcome, Elizabeth. Welcome back. Good to see you again. If you have an addiction to alcohol, even if you have addiction to drugs, this is a good place to come, because if we can just acknowledge the fact that the ruminations, the negative self talk, the issues with things that people say day to day, they can be hurtful. They're not, a lot of people aren't trying to be hurtful, but unfortunately, when they say hurtful things and we're stuck in our addiction and we're drinking all the time, it can become a problem. It can become a hassle. It's hard to get over those negativities, those negative self talks, those things that people say that hurt us if we continue to drink. I drink a lot of times to kind of quiet that voice, those voices, quiet my own voice, wash it away. Because I mean, it's not hard to acknowledge the fact, especially when we get sober for just a little bit of time, that the negative self talk is real. It has a real impact on us. And welcome, Charisma. And it, your dad was an alcoholic. Um, yeah, that plays a huge factor in addiction. I mean, it really does. I didn't particularly know my biological father. I had a father that my parents met basically when I was 3, and my dad, that I considered my dad, he never was really a drinker, but he did have issues with anger, issues with overeating, and just overall negative, like negative. And that's what I kind of made this topic about today: negativity. I had that negative self-talk within me for so long. And I don't want to blame my dad for that, but it didn't help that he gave me that negative self-talk and that inner voice that was just holding me down, holding me back. And the alcohol made those ruminations so much worse. I started drinking when I was 15 years old, as some of you know that are here, that I talk about a little bit in my videos and on my live streams. That the ruminations and the negative self talk are a couple things that really impact our addiction. If we have people telling us that our problems, pointing them out, um, that's never fun, first off. But second off, the way that it comes across a lot of times is um, judgmental, and having that judgmental voice in our head, especially from our parents, can really make things difficult for us growing up. So, like I said, when I turned to alcohol when I was 15 years old, I finally felt like I found a medicine that helped me quiet that voice down, helped me cope with uh, the fact that I didn't feel like I was enough, the fact that I felt that I was lesser than a lot of people, felt that I was even lesser than the people that were saying those negative things to me, about me, and whatever. And once I had a little bit of sober time under my belt, I mean, I would say probably a month was really kind of the magic number. If we can get like a month sober, um, we can start to notice just exactly how much those negative ruminations played a role in our lives, but also in our addictions. I wasn't able to even acknowledge the fact that I was addicted to alcohol until I really gave sobriety some time, and it wasn't an easy thing to do. I mean, I always knew that I wanted to live alcohol free, but I didn't know how to do it, and really, it took um, a group of people similar to this group to discuss what my triggers were, why I was having cravings to drink alcohol, um, because thinking about those things are uncomfortable. But I knew that I had to start to acknowledge those things before I was able to get over them. And like I said, I went a couple years until I started to grow in my faith. And once I started to do that, I started to learn that one of the things that we aren't built with is giving ourselves grace and compassion. And for me personally, going through as a Christian, I started to recognize that God and Jesus gives me that grace. I was able to get that grace, and I was able to get sober because of the grace of God. That is what helped me get over that hump. And then I was able to gain, and I don't think it was a coincidence that I gained the tools that I did. The sober group came into my life kind of rapidly. I mean, I searched for the right group for a long time, but I could never find it. And it just happened to be I found the group that was my calling in the first couple days of quitting drinking. And that group got me through at the beginning and really helped me stay sober, give me the encouraging words that I needed to hear, um, because I wasn't able to do that myself. We try to quit drinking a lot of times with sheer willpower, and that's one of the reasons why I failed over and over again. I think that's the reason why a lot of us fail over and over again to have sustained recovery, is because we um, we don't have the right group, the right people telling us, giving us the words of encouragement that we need to get over that addiction. And so I started to recognize the more I got those words of affirmation from people that really understand and understood what it was like to be hooked on alcohol. uh, I really started to see that building an inner voice that was with me 24/7 was a key to getting over that hurdle. Because, like I said, we're not built with that voice inside of us that's giving us a pat on the back all the time. Uh, we're built with a voice that destroys us, sadly. And once we start to accumulate the tools and the people around us, uh, better habits, replacing the drinking with better habits, um, whatever that might be for you. For me, it was hiking. It was kind of playing with my dogs more. It was taking my daughter to places when we had time to do that, and spending more quality time with the people that I cared about. But even at that, like, say, talking to my wife, even though she is in the medical field and has seen addiction and what it does to people, um, she's not an addict, so she didn't quite understand exactly what I was going through. So even though I talked to her a lot I mean, I talked to her even to this day, but even early on, she was one of my go-to people that I would talk to about a craving that I was having to drink, and really get to the bottom of why I was having the desire to cave into that urge. And I mean, we all have urges. We all have urges either to drink or to turn to things that aren't helpful for us. But it's getting through those urges that really can help us, um, and start to build that inner voice to the point where we don't really need affirmation from other people anymore. As a drinker, I turned to people and what they had to say for my um, self-esteem. I mean, I hate to admit that, but I mean that's just what it was like in my life, in my addiction. What other people say, I held so much importance. And what recovery has taught me and showed me is that I can build up those tools and that inner voice myself, and to the point where I don't need to talk to anybody to feel uh, like I can get over whatever it is I'm struggling with. That's not to say that I don't need support. I mean, we all need uh, groups of, we all need friends. We all need uh, groups of people. We need community in our life, places we can go to have the camaraderie and have the friendship and the help that we might need. And that's why I formed this channel. That's why I formed. That's why I do these live streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so we can kind of check in, kind of talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. You can put it in the comments if you have anything that you particularly want to talk about. I'm an open book as far as my recovery goes. Anything that you guys might want to talk about, I'm open. So, but I just made this today kind of about how recovery and how sobriety can help us get over negativity. We can gain, just say, like, parents can say hurtful things even as adults, right? um, a lot of times I know a lot of people, and me in particular, that if we have our parents over, they might pick apart some of the things about our house, about the cleanliness. They might pick apart our dirtiness of our car. um, One friend that I had in particular on my sober group, she would mention that every time her parents would come over, they would say, why aren't you drinking? Are you drinking again yet? And of course, they were drinking, and it was like they're the bad influence. And I mean, as sad as that is to say, it's the truth. Our parents can be just as bad of an influence on our lives as anybody. And I started to notice that the longer I got sober, and I started to form better boundaries with those people, because boundaries is a huge thing in recovery. I didn't really particularly have good boundaries pretty much my entire life, and I wasn't able to build on that skill because I turned to alcohol at such a young age. 15 years old, I wasn't fully developed. I don't think most of us are fully developed when we start turning to drugs and alcohol, and it's it's like it stunts our growth, and then we end up going our whole life um, as a 15-year-old, 16 or 17 or whenever it is we start to drink. It's like we never fully develop those skills. So boundaries is a huge thing, and in sobriety I was able to start to build those boundaries, and as uncomfortable as that is, because we get used to treating people a certain way and having them treat us a certain way, and it can be weird, I would say, and uncomfortable to start to use those boundaries, because they're kind of taken back by how you're treating them now. It's like, whoa, like where's this new Josh? Um, this isn't someone that I'm used to dealing with, and in fact, I mean that's kind of empowering to have them react that way, because it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you've said hurtful things to me in the past, but and without having to say that, I'm not gonna tolerate it anymore. And sometimes, I mean, there were certain times that I did have to actually say, like, I don't appreciate you talking to me that way. And I wouldn't just say it like right out in the open. If we were around people, I'd be like, let's have a talk. Let's go have a coffee, and we can talk about why I'm reacting the way that I am. And but even sometimes it's not worth having certain people in our lives anymore. I mean, if especially if they're drinking, they're doing drugs or whatever. I've had, even through my alcohol addiction, I've had a few people over my life, my almost 3 decades of drinking, where I had to cut ties with certain people because I recognized that they were holding me back, and that was even in my addiction. So, getting clarity through sobriety has really given me the ability to be able to just say, like, look, I neglected my own self and my own well being for so long that I'm sick and tired of that. And um, I always kind of knew that I was sick and tired of waking up with hangovers. But even further than that, I was just sick and tired of having negative self talk and having people in my life that were holding me back. And that's not to say that I want them out of my life completely. Like I said, some of them are really close friends, and some of them are even family. But I had to kind of build up better boundaries, and once I did that, I was able to kind of continue to build on that, and to the point where those ruminations. I mean, I'm 5 years sober now. Uh, I celebrated 5 years last month, and even now, I have to catch myself being like, "Yo, I mean, uh, I I let you in a little bit too far, and now it's time for me to pull back a little bit." Like, I sometimes I try to give more than I realize that I'm able to, and I know my limitations now, and I'm willing to accept that and say, like, hey, I have might need to grab a different microphone or turn this one off.
Are you able to hear me now? I just went ahead and turned that off completely. All right. I hope that wasn't too long where I was muted. So we'll go back to a couple things. Withdraw. Did you guys hear me talking about withdrawing or withdrawal symptoms? No volume, dummy. Busy talking shit, can't hear. I'm surprised I had a lot of people sticking around if you couldn't hear me. Sorry about that. So the withdrawal symptoms um, are tough if you're physically addicted. I wasn't physically addicted. Um, I realized it was all mental for me. I was able to gain tools to, how's it going, Omen? I was able to gain the tools that I needed to get over my drinking for basically for the 3 years. Um, basically from 2017 to 2020, I was able to kind of gain the tools that I was going to need to finally quit drinking alcohol. And one of them was when I quit drinking, I knew that I was going to need to be aware of how I was feeling. So if I felt like headaches coming on, take Motrin or Tylenol. If I felt nausea coming on, I was going to need to take Dramamine, those kinds of things. And I needed those for like the first week a few times, but it wasn't. I didn't have any major issues with withdrawals. So, but I know that there's plenty of people that can, especially if you're physically addicted to alcohol, that it's hard to get through it. So if you have someone in your life or people in your life that can be around you for like the first week, if you think you need that, my recommendation is to make sure that you have that because I don't think it's safe um, if you are physically addicted to it. If you're drinking to get through tremors and shakes, if you're drinking in the morning to just get through your morning, those kinds of things. I would say that you should probably uh, talk to your doctor or um, how much did I drink? I drank a lot. Yeah, I mean, maybe not as much as some, but way more than others. I probably on a regular night be able to just drink a 12 pack, and that might be light beer. That might be I like to drink bourbon. That was my hard liquor of choice. Um, yeah, two and a half whiskeys. Well, we all have our limitations. We all have our our amounts that we drink. I mean, when I first started drinking, uh, of course I was 15 years old, but I mean, 3 beers would get you wasted. And Timothy says I'm from Scotland, so I'm a professional alcoholic. Yeah, I've considered myself a pro. I mean, like I said, when I was 15, 3 or 4 beers would get you hammered. As time went on, that turned into like a couple 40 ounces, and then it goes from there. Once you're drinking 8 or 9 beers in a sitting, you know, going up to a 12 pack or a 15 pack or more is whatever. I didn't drink every day in my 20s. I drank, yeah, 15. I drank every day in my 30s, but in my 20s I was drinking every other day, and and I would drink as much as I could, up to a 18 pack probably. And like I said, I like to incorporate um, with not well, whiskey was fine. I liked whiskey okay. Uh, Preferably like Irish whiskey, but I liked bourbon, and I would have a little bit of that mixed in, or I liked some like craft beers. But if they were like 7, 8, 9%, I wouldn't be able to drink more than a couple of those if I was drinking like light beer. Um, so yeah, that's what I did. I would just drink one after another, um, and there was a movie that I watched not too long before I quit drinking. I was still drinking when I saw it. It was The Way Back with Ben Affleck, and he was able to get back into coaching basketball. He was a heavy drinker. He had a his him and his wife's son died, and he was drinking every morning to quiet the pain. And even though I never had a child die or anything near that level of pain, I still related to what he was going through as far as his drinking. And there was a scene in that where he had the opportunity to get back into coaching basketball, and that was another passion of mine was basketball, so I related on that too. But he had an interview in the morning for this job, and he couldn't not drink, so he went and bought it like a case of beer, put it in his fridge, and it just showed him going back to the fridge, one beer after another, after another, after another, till he drank basically and passed out and didn't make it to that job interview. And man, I related to that. Um, and even though I was still drinking, I was like, man, that kind of opened my eyes to the fact that it's not cool. I was kind of It was kind of like a badge of honor for me to be able to drink like that. Um, because, like you say, Omar, most people can't drink that much. I'm lucky that I survived that without, knock on wood, too much damage. I mean, I had issues. I had issues, but as far as physical, like illnesses or anything like that, I was lucky that I didn't like kill my liver or kill my heart or organs. Um, your Timothy, welcome. Your brother was a serious alcoholic, died at the age of 51 a few months ago with liver failure. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That is unfortunate. That is definitely uh, one of the reasons why I quit. Stories like that. I mean, I was 42 when I quit drinking. Um, a few years before that, there was a friend of mine that I went to high school with that drank himself to death, and I heard that he drank like fifths of hard liquor and just killed his liver. And I thought, man, if that can be him, that could be me. And thinking about him back in the day, he was kind of someone I looked up to, and it was weird because I always thought I was the one that was drinking more, way more than him. And his skin turned gray. Yeah, I mean it's scary. And like I said, I feel for people that are going through that. I have another friend that actually has a YouTube channel from the UK. His name's Stephen, Living Life Alcohol Free Alcohol Free Lifestyle. Stephen Alcohol Free Lifestyle. And he got on here and started his channel like right around the same time I did last year. And man, he's got like 10,000, 15,000 followers, subscribers now, and it's amazing the story that he has, the health issues that he went through. I mean, he was on knocking on death's door, and he's lucky to be alive. So if you check his channel out, man, he's got some great info um, on that. For me, I was able to get through my addiction without, like I said, any major health issues. I mean, the longest I spent, I was only in the hospital one time, and that was when I was 24 and I had a massive panic attack. And that's one thing that alcohol really did hurt me by was I had anxiety already, but it just made the anxiety 1,000 times worse, to the point where um, I needed like medical attention a lot because I was just I was drinking and then I was having these panic attacks, and I got prescribed this medication because I didn't want to take a antidepressant daily. So I was able to get this medicine that I would take just if I was feeling panicky, and it was I forget the name of the med, but it said that long-term use of it could cause liver damage. Um, Open eyes, thank you for being here, and God bless you. Um, it could cause liver damage. So I tried not to take it often, but there were days that Ativan. It was called Ativan. It's been around for 100 years, whatever, been around forever. But my doctor said, yeah, just take this if you need it. I don't think he knew the level of my drinking because I never was honest about that. I was never honest about how much I was drinking to anybody. It was embarrassing. And, but yeah, like I said, I mean, I got to a point where I was like, man, I can drink that much. I mean, it's kind of like a badge of honor that I can hold that much liquor and not die. Even though I felt like I was going to die on some days, um, I was able to skate through it by the grace of God, uh, and come out the other side with my health. It was interesting. I did post a video last year. Actually, it was June of last year, just a few months after I started this channel, and I had acute pancreatitis. So if you check out my videos, it was one that I said talked about my pancreatitis. But I would have thought that that would have been something that I would have gotten when I was a drinker all those years. But it ended up I was in the hospital for 4 days, um, and by this time I was already 4 years alcohol free. But so it wasn't drink. Usually it's either drinking or gallstones. So I don't drink, and they did the ultrasound for gallstones, and that came back negative. That was fine. So I followed up with my doctor a couple months later after I had the CT scan there in the hospital, and then I had the follow up CT, and everything was clear, thankfully. And then I followed up with the doctor, and he said it's usually like a viral thing. If it's not gallstones or alcohol use, it's usually viral. So that was the explanation I got. I haven't had any issues since then, thankfully. That was the worst pain I've ever been in. It was like 11 out of 10 pain. I mean, it was like I was at the end of my work shift. I had like back pain all afternoon, like mid back. And then as the day and the evening started on, it started moving up into my midsection, to my like rib cage, and eventually into my stomach, to the point where like I couldn't I couldn't breathe well. I couldn't get a deep breath in. Um, I texted my wife. I'm like, I'm not sure. Like I'm having this severe pain, and I don't know if I can make it to my car. It's that bad. And I made it down the road, but I got off on this exit because I knew that I had to go 6 more miles on this stretch of highway without an exit. So I got off on the exit that I knew that I needed to. I called my work. My boss said, just call 911. We'll send another driver over to pick you up, or to pick up the van. And Timothy says, so 500 ml cans of Desperados, 5.9%, and you don't even get tipsy. Yeah. Yeah, and actually, I mean, it ends up being kind of a bummer if you're drinking that much and you're not getting a buzz or getting wasted. I mean, it just feels like why bother? I still was getting wasted. I mean, I could drink a couple of like light beers. It would take 5 or 6 light beers basically for me to really start feeling anything. But that's kind of why I would incorporate the bourbon or the craft beer where it was higher percentage alcohol. But even some of that stuff left me feeling um, like uncomfortable. There's a Bell's Shorts Brewery here in Michigan um, that makes a soft parade beer, and it's like a I don't know, it's like a fruity beer, berry like berries. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't really drink fruity beer all that often, but this one I kind of liked it. It was good, but it was like 9% alcohol. No, I think that one was like 7.5%. But anyway, I would drink like 3 of those while I was drinking the light beer, and I noticed like I was starting to get like my ears were ringing. As weird as that sounds. And then I'd wake up when I woke up the next morning and I had those. I would have like a worse headache than I normally would. So I kind of steered clear of that. And it wasn't like that with other craft beers. So it was like I got to a point where I'm like, I'm not gonna touch those. And then there was other, like I said, I would mix bourbon in, and there was, and I couldn't drink a ton of it, but Maker's Mark was one that I liked, and Jameson whiskey for Irish whiskey, and Guinness Drought. I loved that. And I don't have any Mexican Irish heritage, but I loved the Irish spirits. I loved them, and especially on St. Patty's Day, but even all year round. But I tried not to drink too much of that stuff because it was pricey, and already if I would buy a 15 pack of light beer, uh, that's gonna run 15 to 20 bucks, and that's 15 to 20 bucks a day on drinking. I mean, that's ridiculous. And then add in those more expensive drinks, that was just adding up. So that's just another added benefit of not drinking alcohol at all is the money that you save. I mean, it's a huge savings. Um, like I said, 20 bucks a day. I mean, call that, say 5 days a week. Let's just say 5 days. 100, that's 100 bucks a week, and then times 400 bucks a month. I mean, man, that, and do that for all 12 months. What's that? 4,800. That's 5 grand in a year, and that's just drinking light beer at home, and that's not including going out to restaurants, bars, getting craft beers, bourbons. So yeah, just the amount of money saved, and all that plays a factor in, I guess, the topic that I made this today, which which yeah, I mean, the ruminations, the negative voices. We have this built-in mechanism in our minds that, and I know that it's a defense mechanism. It's something that we're trying to help ourselves with that negative self-talk. But if we're drinking all the time, that's just making that voice louder, making those ruminations louder, making us hold on to those things. I mean, like I said, I would hold on to something hurtful that someone said and carry that along with me all day and maybe for weeks. and drink because of that, and drink more and drink at it. And how many of us drink at things, drink at people? We can't really solve their problems. I mean, they've got issues of their own. Most people do. And if they're being mean to us, there's a reason why they're hurting us, because hurt people hurt people. Uh, so they can have what they want. They can do what they're gonna do. They can say what they're gonna say. But I don't need to carry that along with me in my day. You know what I mean? Um, so sobriety will give us back those helpful tools to give us the self talk that we need, and kind of get rid of that negativity. And so if you were here, thank you so much for sticking by. Uh, I promised myself that I was going to have an extra microphone with me, and I do. It's in my back seat, tucked away. So I just unplugged it. But next time, uh, I'm not going to have no sound for this whole thing. And I don't know how I was able to get you guys to stick by me. But thank you so much for sticking with me. Um, I've got a sobriety group. It's called Sobriety in the Storm. It's on Facebook. It's a private group. I've got the link pinned in all my videos. So if you check out any of my videos, you can click on that link and join my Facebook group. If you like my live streams, if you like my videos, please like and subscribe for this channel to keep it going. And I love making this content for you guys. I appreciate you all being here. Hopefully, I'll be here Monday. I might come on a little bit earlier than 10 because I've got to work earlier that day. But yeah, so we're here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'm so glad that you guys came along with me on this journey, and we can continue on. So have a great sober day, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.